get involved in building our institutions. Back in the United Kingdom, for example, you see students leaving Cambridge and Oxford. What are they doing? They said they want to join the civil service. So over time, you see that you have 10 permanent secretaries, 8 of them are Oxford graduates. They don't see it as a shame joining civil service. But in Nigeria, no, everybody wants to work in oil company. How many big men will send your child to school abroad and come back and say, okay, join the police? There you go. So you can't complain when we are not getting engaged in the institutions of state. So the first reason why nations fail is weak institutions. The second reason is lack of plural or change in political leadership. Lack of plurality, and change in political leadership. Same people, same mentality. Recycling of political officers. You know, according to the research, they said powerful people always and eventually seek to grab complete control over government, undermining broader social progress for their own greed. Keep those people in check with effective democracy or watch your nation fail. Lack of plurality. In fact, if you look at the names of our leaders and where they've come from since independence, you would think Nigeria is a country of 1 million people. Because we've been fishing from a very small bowl. Lack of plurality. Number 3, lack of effective democratic competition or genuine choice. According to that research, they said a country is poor precisely because it has been ruled by a narrow elite that have organized society for their own benefit at the expense of vast mass of people. Political power has been narrowly concentrated and has been used to create great wealth for those who possess it. Lack of competition. That is exemplified by one-party state, or the same people bringing in the leaders year in, year out. What do you say for a service that is professionalized, like, say, the Foreign Service, and we have somebody who's risen through the ranks in this country, up to becoming a Supreme Court judge, retired in the Supreme Court at the age of 70-something, now at the age of 78, he's now been appointed as ambassador. What do you say to that? Did you see the picture of our president in America a few days ago? Our ambassador was walking with a walking stick. He's 82 years old. That's the ambassador to the US. By the time you think putting him and the president side by side, you think we're a nation of geriatrics. Why is power concentrated among the few and they are recycling it among themselves? Number 4, the fourth reason why nations fail: absence of effective rule of law or existence of weak legal system. This is not only a Nigerian problem. If you've been following what's happening in Kenya, for example, you notice recently a Kenyan judge, gave an order commanding the Inspector General of Police to be produced in court. Of course, he didn't show up. So the judge said, so people said, who's going to arrest him? No. So the judge now said, okay, I'm going to fine him 1 month's salary of 200 Kenyan shillings or whatever it is, a fine. Because he couldn't make the Inspector General of Police to arrive in court, despite the court summons. That is a sign of weak institution. Lack of effective rule of law. For those who are in business in this country, do you know how many judgments against governments that are currently in existence that have not been, obeyed by governments? I'm not even talking of criminal ones, even civil ones. People who have been given contracts by government. I know many of them, at least over a dozen, that they've obtained court judgment to say, okay, you have to pay this person, and 10 years on, nothing has happened. Now, that level of impunity, because the rule of law doesn't exist, emboldens politicians to behave excessively. Let me put it this way. Politicians are the same everywhere. But once they are in an environment where there is effective rule of law, that curtails their behavior. But once that, am I making sense to somebody? A very good way I like to use an illustration. A very good way to explain this is, for those of you who have traveled out of this country before, say to US or UK, watch the behavior of Nigerians when the plane lands in UK and when it lands in Lagos. When it lands in the UK, they will say, don't stand up until the light is... Nobody moves. Nobody. Don't put on your phone, you won't hear a sound. The same people bring them to Lagos, the same return leg. As the plane is taxiing, you see them, they are standing up. And you see them shouting, we sit down. And I'm asking, what is wrong with these people? It shows the problem is not inherent in them. The problem is that they are in a structured environment with strong institutions. So they immediately behave themselves. So Nigerians can behave well if our institutions are strong. If a politician knows that if a court order is obtained and you don't obey it, you are in trouble. It's even an impeachable offense. They will obey court orders. But we're in a nation where... So the reason why I'm saying all this, just like the previous speaker is saying, is we are being distracted by thinking it's all about who we elect as president. You can elect Jesus Christ as your president. If the institutions are poorly managed, the nation will be poorly managed. So getting involved in governance, therefore, is not just about contesting for political office. It's about building the institutions that make us great. Amen? We're in church. Number 5, lack of effective and competitive private sector ownership of the economy. Lack of effective and competitive private sector ownership of the economy, it leads to failed state. When the economy of a nation is revolving around a few hands, you are in trouble. We talk about GDP, we band around statistics, our GDP has grown by... That could be export-led GDP growth that has nothing to do with the life of the masses. So you can be given all the numbers you like. It doesn't affect the day-to-day life of the people. So it's important that nations that grow are nations that have a vast base for their economy. For those of you who do any business with government, you know that the whole thing is like a mafioso. In fact, the requirements before you even get registered to get a government contract, in fact, I mean, that's a different... In fact, you forget if you're a new business, it won't work. What did they do in the United States? An act was brought in under the first Bush administration that says that a particular... I'm not sure, I don't want to give you the wrong percentage, but a particular percentage of federal government contract in the U.S. must go to new businesses. It's a law. But yet in Nigeria, you're a graduate, you started a new business, you want to do contract, they say go and bring 3 years tax clearance. How do you get 3 years business tax clearance when you're just starting business? I'm making stupid rules. And that keeps such contract in the hands of the few. You will never get a hand on it. And as a result, our nation's economy is now in the hands of very few people.